So every day I have hope. So HOPE. So every day I'm going to do something that makes me happy. Every day I'm going to do something to create opportunity, right? For my business and for my kids. And then P, every day I'm going to be profitable, both profitable for the business and then profitable personally, right?
Mhm.
And profitable could be in happiness or money, right? And then E is excellent, that as a female entrepreneur, CEO, that I have to be excellent. So every day I'm going to do something to make me happy, create opportunity, make sure I'm profitable, and then make sure that I am excellent.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of I Have Something to Say, where subject matter experts are unafraid and unapologetic about sharing their perspectives regarding issues that impact our lives. They speak up because basically they give a shit. So if you're tired of canned answers and want to finally hear real people cut through the BS and talk about real issues, this is the podcast for you. I'm your host, Sami Jimen Marrero from Urbander, and behind our mixer is our producer, Chris Majoka from UdoU. Welcome, everybody, to this episode of I Have Something to Say. And we have a very special guest. This is a busy jefa, a busy boss lady. I got to tell you, it's been like really not challenging. It's just that you're busy, right, Pam? Pam
Yeah.
Isom. She's the president and CEO of ICE Safety Solutions. And it's all about safety and managing crisis situations and being available for your customers that are really they really counting on you and rely on you for over 2 decades on ensuring that compliance is met and that you're following, regulation safety regulations by the book, and that more importantly no one gets hurt, right? Am I right, Pam?
Right. No one will die. That's the ultimate goal, right? No one gets ill, injured, or loses their life at work.
Exactly. And can I tell you, Pam, it's so interesting. I mean, we were introduced by a mutual friend, and I think she said, "Oh, you both have to just meet." But I think it's such a gift to have met you because you've been in entrepreneurship for such a long time, and I'm so glad that we had time to, talk privately and intimately, and I could ask you all of these questions about, and we'll get into that in a minute, right? About raising children that don't know anything else but mom entrepreneur, right? And then where you land on the other side of that. But I wanted to ask you, safety. How did you gravitate towards safety? How did you become the safety guru that you are?
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting question to kind of think back, like, how did I get started? But really, it all started when I was 16 and I was a lifeguard. That was like my first job, right? In high school, I was becoming a lifeguard, and we had to take a CPR training, right?
Mm.
Right, CPR and a bunch of other lifeguarding skills. And then, yeah, I was at home with my dad, and he started like having like chest pain and heart attack pain, and I thought, oh, he's just joking, right? Because that's what
Mm.
dads would do. And then all of a sudden we realized, oh my gosh, she's not joking. Like, this is real. And so me and my brother, he was also training to be a lifeguard. We kicked into gear, and then my dad survived. So that was like the
Oh
first
God.
kind of opening where I
Yeah.
fell in love with the heart.
Mhm.
So yeah, so then from there I went on to get a degree in biological sciences and then went into heart research. Yeah.
Wow, how interesting. And right now, so then your business is 24 years old and you deliver safety equipment, you train through VR and AR safety training, CPR, like you mentioned, first aid, fire extinguisher, how to manage that. You also manage events, correct? Like you pretty much anywhere and any place that a safety expert uh, team needs to be, you show up.
Yeah. Yeah. Any customer where they need to make sure no person becomes ill, injured, or lose a life, or really they're mandated by OSHA, they're mandated by the government,
Mm-hmm.
right, to provide occupational safety and health to
Yeah.
all employees. So that's why any type of training, equipment, or consulting is a lot of what we do for major customers across the US.
Am I wrong in assuming that it's predominantly a male driven industry?
100%. Everybody who, my competitors who run safety consulting and training, they're all former firemen, former paramedic, former FEMA, right? They're all in there.
Yeah.
And then here walks Pamela Isom. And everyone, I have to tell you, like, somebody, one thing that happened, I was at a customer in Kentucky, right, Louis, and I go to check in with my team. They're all firefighters, right? They're all kind of, with five of us walking, and he hands the clipboard over my head to the guy behind me, my staff, and he goes, "Hey, it looks like you're in charge." And my guy handed it back to me, and he goes, "Oh, she's in charge." And he said,
Wow.
no, he said, "Oh, she's the CIC." And they said, "Oh, Chief Incident Commander." And he said, "No, chick in charge."
I love that.
Chick in charge. So that became my nickname, as a CIC.
That's awesome. But also what a aha moment for this person that's going to collaborate with you or was in that environment to, make such an assumption just because of your gender, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure
Yeah.
that's happened to you a lot though, so you must
Oh,
be.
I'm pretty much used to it. And I think it's really important that when I come into a meeting, I immediately have to, like, show my subject matter expertise. And
Yeah.
sometimes I have to show that I do deserve to be here. And I sometimes have imposter syndrome. That might be another podcast. But
Mhm.
I really have to go in and show what I know. I have to show it quickly, right? And
Yes.
that way I can earn the respect within the first 3 minutes of you knowing me.
Yeah, so that way you establish those boundaries of engagement and that respect so they don't get it twisted, right? So this is now we're going to dive into this conversation that because I was asking you all kinds of questions and I was like, girl, we need to have this conversation and record it because as an entrepreneur, for so many years, I've been in 15 years now. The first thing that I asked you was, how are your kids, right? Because sometimes we're constantly hustling and pushing and out and in and confined to our room or offices and on the computer and constantly on the cell phone, right? Following, well, especially people like you with emergencies that you deal a lot with safety. And so my concern, my kids are teenagers now, so we're in that difficult stage, although they're all difficult stages, I think, but just different problems, right, or issues to tackle. But my concern has always been, oh my goodness, how are these kids going to turn out? Because I'm not like that. I'm not the typical mom, right? We don't do the PTA thing anymore. Like, I tried as much as I could. There aren't that many extracurricular activities. I'm very blunt and like business like sometimes, and it's awful, but I can't help myself, I'm just like, what do you want, let's solve it. And so, I mean, do you feel that you experience some of these same things?
Right. 100%. I think the first thing that comes up is guilt, right?
Yes.
We feel guilty when we're, with our kids and active activities, but then when we're at work, we feel guilty that we're not there, right? And one of the things I really had to train myself on is whatever I am doing, I am 100%, right? That I have to love what I do and do what I love. So if I'm like helping a customer with an emergency crisis or an OSHA audit that they're going to have, or training, I am doing that 100%. And I try to emulate that into my girls. right? I tried to be really honest with them, like, hey, I'm not going to be able to make it to your soccer game. Right. And I let them know. I show them my calendar. I show them the customer. I log into the customer's website and I show it to them. I got them a map of the United States and little stars, and they would put stickers as to where mommy is. And they're like, Mommy, you're in Indiana. Is it yellow? Because you know how the map has like different colors.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And it taught them to learn about the United States and cities. They would actually learn those things because they're like, that's where mommy is. Right. So I think it's like involving your kids as opposed to separating, right, from your kids. And it really got to the point where as my girls grew up, I have two girls and they're only a year apart, is they
Mhm.
would say things like, Mom, I have this game or I have a recital or choir. Can you put it in your phone? They quickly learn
Mm.
if it's important, go ahead and put it
Yeah.
in your phone, right? And so we learn how to parent each other. And I think
Mm.
that's what's important in teaching kids responsibility.
Yes. It's funny that you say that because sometimes I have like a long day and I'm just so tired I eat and I just collapse, right? I just pass out. And my daughter specifically leaves me notes, like little notes and saying, "Hey, you fell asleep. Just wanted to let you know that I hope you had a good night. But when you wake up in the morning, I need to talk to you about XYZ." So it's almost like a memo, you know?
Yeah.
It's like a little memo.
Yeah. You
And it's
know,
so cute.
it is. It is really cute. One of the things that I really recommend to a lot of moms, especially as your kids get into high school, right, is
Mhm.
allow them to parent you, right? So I would tell my girls like, "Hey, I'm gonna be up working late, probably till like 1 or 2 in the morning. I might not put my laptop away or do those things." So I would say, "Can you set your alarm for
Mm.
6 a.m.? Can you wake me up?" Right.
Mhm.
And if I didn't put my laptop away, can you put everything away? And can you make my chai tea right in the morning? And this is how you make it. And so what would happen is they would just be my parent. They would be my mom. They would wake me up. They would put everything away. They would put it in my car. They would make my tea. They would have everything ready to go. And what it did is it taught them that love of responsibility. So then when they got to
Mm.
college, right? They can wake themselves up. They can, kind of do all those steps. I think that's
Yeah, yeah.
really important.
Yeah. Have you asked your daughters the thing is they don't have anything to compare it with, right? Because you had the baby, the your first, right? And when you had already started the business, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, they were born, the oldest was born the year I started the company. So my company is 24 years old, right? And she is 24 years old. The great thing is because my kids now are 24 years and 23 years, now we can have really great candid conversations about it.
Yeah.
And one of the things is my girls noticed their freshman years in college is how much they actually knew how to do on their own, right?
Yeah.
They knew how to do their laundry. They knew how to get themselves up. They knew, and something else is they knew how to be disappointed. I think that's really important as a mother is to not have the guilt that it is okay to disappoint your child once a day because then it teaches them about the world. And I would even teach them things about like email. Like if I had a difficult situation, I would show my girls
Mm.
the email. Hey, I got this email. I'm not sure how I should respond. How would you respond? And actually have them type the email, right?
Right.
Now they're problem solving with me. And now I notice as they're both working. One works at Microsoft, whoop, whoop, and the other works at SAP. But
Nice.
now I notice like they can talk to me and be like, Mom, I know how to answer these emails, or I've learned. Oh, they learned you don't have a bad day. You learn to have a bad moment in your day.
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
they got to learn disappointment, they got to learn problem solving, as opposed to me just running this entrepreneur company like in a bubble and them not understanding. Now they really understand. And I think it makes them much stronger, worker bees for the world.
Yeah, totally. I just think so. And question, do you work? I'm assuming you work a lot at home too, right? Because I think that we've been remote the whole time. And so they see it constantly, right? The highs and the lows when we celebrate something or when I'm struggling, right? To make time when there's not more time. There's only 24 hours a day, right?
Yeah.
And so they listen in on conversations or on calls that perhaps other kids are not exposed to. So they will learn, right? They will learn and internalize that.
Oh yeah, they're in the car, especially with hands free. So I'm talking to the customer, right? Hands free. Kids are in the back, they hear it, but they get to hear the dynamics of a conversation. And I remember I went through a drive-through Starbucks and my drink was incorrect and I had to drive through and they fixed it. And I remember, gosh, she was only like 9 years old. And then my daughter said, "That was great customer service." The fact that at 9 years old, she understood what good customer service was from the Starbucks, really had me realize, like, you know what? I no longer feel guilt about, what
Mhm.
I'm doing as a mother because this is a different level of education.
Right, right. It's yeah, it is. And so that, after we spoke, I was able to I did sigh of relief. And you told me how well your daughters are doing, that they're in the workforce at these amazing companies doing really thriving, And so I'm like, okay, so it's not gonna, maybe they don't do, all of these extracurricular, they're doing piano and guitar now, at least music is something, right? But I think this is the extracurricular activity, really, right? Is just
Yeah,
being exposed to different people, going to events, dragging them to volunteer, and listening in on conversation. I got to tell you, when they were little and they used to argue, I remember one time I was on a client call trying to listen, and they had to shut up because they were arguing, and I'm like putting the phone. This was before Zoom, so at least you could put it on mute, and I was like putting it on mute and banging on the wall, telling them, "Shut up." I will,
right, right.
I'm like, shut up right now. I'm on the call with a client. And then taking it off. Yes. Yes. Wonderful. 'Cause, like, what are you going to do? And that's
Yeah.
what I mean about being rough around the edges. Sometimes it's just like, you can't tiptoe around it. You have to be direct. And so they're not easily flustered, I've noticed.
Yeah, yeah, because they have learned what's an A priority, a B priority, a C priority. They've learned to be respectful, right? They've had to learn that because we're asking them to do that with us, right? Even little things like, my daughter got sick on Valentine's Day and she was kind of like, how am I going to go with my boyfriend? And she goes, well, we're just going to celebrate on February 15th, right? Because who says that you have to do something on that day? What can be moved, right? She's learned to say this is an A priority that could be moved to a B priority, right?
Mm-hmm.
Really important for young people to learn. Otherwise, if they haven't learned to be disappointed or learn how to troubleshoot their way out of a paper bag, then we haven't done that service to them, right?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, we're raising adults for the world. We're not raising adults for ourselves.
Yes, totally. And one of the big things too that I've noticed that my kids do pretty well now, just hearing you talk about these different aspects, right, of engaging with people and navigating life, really, is the managing expectations bit, right? Yeah, I'm noticing lately that they're always preface stuff, right? Saying, well, I just wanted to let you know in case you get a call or whatever, so they kind of cushion or do a lot of probing to make sure that they're meeting expectations, and also that I'm not expecting more than they're willing to to deliver, right? And so
Yeah. How I help my girls understand expectation is using the word no, right? So I came up with this phrase that says no equals, so NO equals new opportunity,
mm,
right? No equals new opportunity. So if I have to say no, you can and can't do something, it is a new opportunity, right? To maybe create something different. Or if I can't be there, then there's a new opportunity for me to maybe be and do something else. And so I really train them to do that. So then, as other adults would say, no, you can't have the day off because of your birthday, they would no longer get disappointed that somebody told them no. No becomes a very positive phraseology. And I think that's important because I think, our young people, as they enter the workforce, they're like, oh, I didn't get that promotion, or, I didn't get that project. And I was able to teach them from a very, very young age that no means new opportunity. Don't get disappointed if you're told no, or mommy is telling you I can't do something. It's a new opportunity.
right, exactly. Yeah, that's really, really great. And so, what's next with your business?
I'm glad you asked. I actually, when my youngest was graduating from college, I kind of had a bit of a nervous breakdown because I didn't know if I loved my company, Ice Safety Solutions. I didn't know if I loved it because I love safety, or if it's
Mhm,
because it gave me the lifestyle that I needed and wanted, right, to be a mom.
mhm,
So I really had to like really reflect for about 6 months to figure out like what
mhm.
I would do. And
Wow.
luckily, right at that time, I had the idea of creating virtual reality, like VR goggles, and I'm in the world and I'm teaching you what to do. And because I get calls monthly of, I saved my daughter from choking, or someone got hit with a forklift and they stopped bleeding, call 911, or there was a fire, they used a fire extinguisher. And so, because I was getting these calls as I was building the virtual reality, it made me realize that, you know what, I really do love what I do,
Mhm.
what I'm meant to
Yeah.
do. And so, really, where we're headed now is my older daughter is the succession plan for the company. After
Mhm.
she graduated from college, she actually worked here for 2 years as a project manager before she went on to SAP. And the plan is to work and grow this company for the next 5 years. And then in 5 years, we're going to get ready to sell. And then at that point, we will give my older daughter the opportunity to possibly, buy into the company. But it was really important for me as her mom to allow her to leave, right? So even though she was here,
Mhm.
I would have kept her forever. She was fantastic. But I needed to like allow her to go work in the world for 5 years,
Mhm.
right? And really
Mhm.
make sure that she's in love with what we do versus I'm going to buy this because my mom wants me to take over the company.
Yeah, that's really smart. Really smart. I have a question for you. So my kids when they were little, under 10 years old, they're like, "Oh, I'm going to be the boss, when I grow up." And then now that they're teenagers, they're like, "Nah." They don't want to. Did that happen to you too? Were they kind of hot and cold with being part of your business or not?
Well, initially no, because they've been working in the company since they were 10 years old. So when they were 10, they made the amount of money as the second number in their age. So when they were 10, they got $0 an hour. They can get stuff from the snack machine. When they're 11, they got $1 an hour, 12, $2 an hour, eight, and then so on and so
Yeah.
forth. So they always were excited to work in here. The younger one definitely, she's a coder. She codes. Um,
Mm.
so computer science engineering. So really not that interested in coming back. But my older one, yes, she still is very interested. They go up and down. We didn't really talk about it too much, right?
Mhm.
In terms of the succession plan and taking over, because as teenagers are really moody. So I would just say, to any parent, Don't really think about it. Don't talk to them about it. They're too moody.
Uh-huh. Yes. Okay. So that's what I'm going through right now. Yes. It's like
Yeah,
hot and cold. I'm like, okay, but you told me this just like 6 months ago, but it's okay. I don't pay it too much mind because I know that they at least they know that entrepreneurship is an option, right? And I think in our generation, we were taught to just put your nose down, do the work, check in, check out, be respectful, and stay there for 30 years, retire, and hope for the best. And then things have changed dramatically, and especially for women that were really leading the charge in entrepreneurship and business ownership. So it's pretty exciting
yeah,
to see someone that's, when you say that you have this 5 year plan, you're so young, to be able to enjoy your semi retirement, because I don't think you'll ever, fully retire, right?
yeah,
But it's exciting, right? And to me, I'm right behind you. It's exciting to see what the outcomes are, even though right now I might be feeling guilty, feeling stressed out, feeling like I'm not sure I'm doing the right thing all the time for my children, But so it gives me hope. It's
right.
inspiring to hear you share your experiences because you've already been through that, right?
Yeah, and I really want, folks listening of it's it's okay to disappoint somebody once a day. As a CEO, so many people are pulling on us in many different directions, and
Mhm.
every day one person's going to be disappointed, right? And when I lay my head down at the end of the day, which, is very late, but when I lay my head down at the end of the day, I do have to know that I made a difference. I'm either going to be a great mom, a great manager, a great CEO, a great safety trainer, a great consultant. That when I lay my head at the end of the day, I'm going to pick one thing that I did great that day,
Mhm.
or a great wife, great daughter, great friend, right? And if I can lay my head down with one thing that I did great that day, I'm going to close my eyes and go to sleep. But please
Mhm.
don't go to sleep like with the list of what you did not do,
Mm.
right? That could drive you crazy, right?
Yeah.
And just end your day with one thing that was great. And if you can't remember the one great thing, just go through your sent email. And so I'll do that. I look at my sent email and I'm like, oh, I did that so great today. All right, I did right. But
Exactly.
but shift that paradigm at the end of the day. What was the
Mm.
one thing you did great? Lay your head down and dream about
I love that. Okay, so what the big ones that I got from this conversation. Number 1, the kids are going to be all right. They're learning skills that they would not otherwise learn if you were working in a corporate job somewhere, right? Number 2, no means new opportunities. It doesn't mean the end of the world, right? It means, okay, we're just shifting, to something different, something new, or another moment, another time. Just no is like not right now, no. And the third takeaway is that it's okay to disappoint somebody every day,
that.
and and not to feel guilty about it at all.
Nope. Nope. Not at all. As long as you love
And
what you do and do what you love. Just make one person happy every day and then
yeah,
go to sleep with that.
yeah, totally. Thank you so much, Pam. Is there anything else that you'd like to share, or any closing comments?
Oh gosh, no, I think it's really I have something else that I say. I talk to myself a lot.
I do
The other
too.
thing is I always say every day I wake up and I'm gonna have hope, right? So every day I have hope. So HOPE. So every day I'm going to do something that makes me happy. Every day I'm going to do something to create opportunity, right? For my business and for my kids. And then P, every day I'm going to be profitable, both profitable for the business and then profitable personally, right?
Mhm.
And profitable could be in happiness or money. right? And then E is excellent. That as a female entrepreneur, CEO, that I have to be excellent. So every day I'm going to do something make me happy, create opportunity, make sure I'm profitable, and then make sure that I am excellent. I do have one little piece of advice for parents when your kids get to be teenagers, and you know how like you're like, how was your day? And they're like, fine. And then that's all you get. Okay. So try not to ask questions like that. Ask them the question like this, like, hey, what kept you busy today? Dot, dot, dot. Right. So what
Mm.
kept you busy at practice? Dot, dot, dot. What kept you busy in English? Right? What kept you busy, at the party? And if you ask them that question, what kept you busy, they will actually give you a different response than how was your day? How was practice?
And the typical fine.
Exactly. Right. And then the last part of that conversation is have secret time with your kids. And you can start as young as 5 years old, right? So secret time means there's no consequence, right? And so I would have secret time with my kids like, oh, I have a secret. On the way home, I stopped at McDonald's and got French fries. And then I came home and pretended I was hungry for dinner, So, but by having secret time with your kids, and I've done this for my girls all the way through high school, what happened was as they were in high school, because I always did secret time, they would actually start coming to me like, hey, mom, can I have secret time? And
Hmm.
kind of talk to me about, something that was going on. But remember, you have to start young and you have to share your secrets that, maybe they don't know about, and then they share secrets back with you.
I love that. I
Yeah,
love
and it
that.
opens up communication as they get older because there's no fear of repercussion.
I absolutely love that. I have a favorite E word too. I tell everybody on our team you need to always shoot for extraordinary because
Yeah.
there's nothing like perfection doesn't exist, right? And so if we shoot for extraordinary, we'll at least be above satisfactory. And most people are okay with satisfactory, but we can't be, right? We can't be. So that's great. Thank you so much, Pam. You give me hope. This conversation gives me hope that my kids are going to be all right. And I really thank you this time you spent with me because I know your phone's probably ringing off the hook right now.
Thank you. No, it really is an honor. If I can just make one person feel better about this journey that they're on, then we've accomplished it together.
Thank you so much. This is great.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of I Have Something to Say, where subject matter experts are unafraid and unapologetic about sharing their perspectives regarding issues that impact our lives. They speak up because basically they give a shit. So if you're tired of canned answers and want to finally hear real people cut through the BS and talk about real issues, this is the podcast for you. I'm your host, Sami Heyman Marrero from Urbander, and behind our mixer is our producer, Chris Majoka from UdoU.